Hello, this is Molly from the CMSNet Help Desk. Today I will be doing a webinar on the Provider Electronic Data Interchange. I will be showing you how to complete the eSAR Fillable form to submit an eSAR to CMSNet for the CCS and GHP client. However, before we get started, I would like to point out that currently eSAR Fillable form does not have the ability to do attachment, such as medical justification attachment is currently not available. Therefore, if your office does not have the ability to allow CCS or GHP staff to log on to your EHR system or application to view medical justification, you will have to send the medical justification to the CCS and GHP office after you're submitting the eSAR within PEDI. Okay, now that I mentioned that, in order for your domain to submit eSAR, you must have an approved eSAR trading partner. Let me go ahead and log in. If your office doesn't have an eSAR trading partner, the PEDI liaison, your PEDI liaison, can apply for an eSAR trading partner under the administration link. Liaisons, there is a liaison guide manual that has step-by-steps on how to apply for an eSAR trading partner, okay, and how to assign eSAR roles to your staff once your eSAR has been approved. Therefore, assuming your PEDI domain is already approved and you have the eSAR role, this webinar will show you how to search for a client, request eSAR for an established CCS and GHP client, how to view the eSAR after submitting it, and how to know which county it got assigned to, how to request for a SAR modification to a pending SAR or an authorized SAR, and also how to request for an eSAR for a client not known to your domain or a new client, basically a newborn client. Alright, let's get started. So the first thing, before you can request an eSAR, you always need to search for the client first. So this is the search screen. By clicking on the search, and to search for the client, you would enter either the case number, the client's SIN, SSN, SAR number, client's last name, first name, date of birth, gender, so basically all the following identifier, okay? So I am going to go ahead and the first example that I'm going to do is to show you how to request an eSAR for an established client. So I do have my fake client that I created, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so once you put in the search criteria and you search, the client listing will display. If this is the client that you want, you will click on the client's name hyperlink. If it's not the client that you want and it's not found, then you will request a new eSAR for a new client, which I will show you later on. My first example is going to be teaching you how to request an eSAR for an established client. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on the client's name. The system will take you to the search result list of SARs for the client you selected. So before I go ahead and request a new eSAR, I would like to go ahead and quickly explain what we're seeing here. For this client, we have an eSAR that was deleted, and you can tell it's deleted because of the SAR number. It's shorter. It's not the long SAR number starting with the 97 or the 91 or the 98 for GHP, okay? So I know this is an eSAR because it's a shorter number and the status is deleted. This one right here is a authorized SAR which somebody has submitted an eSAR request to modify. So therefore, it is an authorized SAR, but it is awaiting service review. Somebody put in a modification request, and it's waiting over at the CMSNet system for either the CCS county users or JHP staff to work the request. So in this case, my client is a CCS client. It's sitting at the CMSNet homepage waiting for the county users to work on. This right here is a regular authorized SAR, and this run right here is a brand new eSAR, not yet turned into an authorization yet. It is still waiting for the county users to review to decide whether they're going to accept it and pen the SAR and authorize it, or they're going to reject it by deleting it. Okay? Alright, so now that we have our client selected and I went over a little bit of what we saw here, let's go ahead and click on the Request New eSAR button. So if you have your client selected and you want to request additional service requests for the client, you will click on Request New eSAR. Once you click on the Request New eSAR, the system will take you to the eSAR Fillable form. Since this is an established client, the client's information will be pre-populated here for you. This is a fake client, obviously, and a fake SIN number and everything, okay? So you have to, even though you selected a CCS client, the system doesn't have the ability to know that you are putting in still a request for a CCS or a JHP client. Therefore, we have the CCS and JHP indicator here. So go ahead and, if it's a CCS client, click on CCS. If it's JHP, then you would click JHP. Okay. Now the primary guardian address information and the client address information is optional. If the client has moved and you would like to notify the CCS office that the client's address is changed, then go ahead and enter in the client's address information along with phone number. Same for the guardian information. If there's some change of information that you need to let the CCS or JHP county office know, complete this section, okay? Otherwise it is collapsed. Alright, so now that we have our client selected, we would like to go ahead and submit an eSAR request. I'm just going to cheat here by getting NPI. Now the system actually, if you selected the wrong provider by mistake, to switch that, just simply clear the two fields out and re-enter your correct provider. So I'm just going to go ahead and let's do a special care center SAR first, okay? I'm going to show you an example of special care center. So if you enter the wrong provider, clear both fields out, re-enter it in, click Find, and the system will repopulate your new selection. Alright, so let's just go ahead and pick a date of service here. And let's go ahead and put in the client diagnosis. And don't forget to put your information. This is whom should the county contact related to this request. So if they have any questions related to the eSAR that you sent in, this is the person that they will be calling to ask for more additional information or to give you additional information on why they're rejecting the request, or if they need information, who do they need to contact, okay? And the additional comment field is for you to enter in, maybe if you're going to be sending in medical justification, mention that in here, or if you need to add any additional information that is the field is not available in the eSAR fillable form, this is the comment section for you to add, okay? Alright. Now we're going to go ahead and add services because this is a special care center SAR. So if this wasn't a special care center SAR, to search for service code, you would do either the code here or the description here. And if it was pharmacy, do NDC, either the drug name or the label name. Same thing with medical supply. Now the service code search pop-up here, you can only search for one field at a time, okay? So don't type in here L2525 and then type in the description and stuff like that, because you will never find a result, okay? So let's go ahead and do that again. So if this was a service code grouping 02 for a special care center SAR, you can either type in the word special for special care center or 02 and then click search or hit the enter key, and it will pre-populate the special care center here, okay? So and then for special care center or service code grouping 01 or any service code grouping, the unit that you put is 1. So let's go ahead and do that again. I'm just going to delete this. Let's do it again. So instead of doing 02, you can type in the word special or partial search, hit enter, and there you go. It also populates the special care center 02. Okay? So put the unit as 1. So if I entered my provider selection, I did my dates, I did the diagnosis, I did the service, I added who to contact, my comments. So now I'm ready to submit. Alright, once it's submitted successfully, the system will provide you a temporary SAR reference number. So this is the number that you can take down and note, and when you're faxing over a medical justification, put this on the request and refer it to as an eSAR ID so that the county users or JHP staff knows that this medical justification that they are looking at is related to an electronic request that came into CMSNet. Okay, and that SAR number, you can take that temporary SAR number and you can also search for it just to make sure that it's in the system, and you can also click on it to view and make sure that it went to the correct county. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and do another example. So this is right here. You can search for the client, and then let's go ahead and select the client again. Then this time let's do another request for practice. Practice always make perfect. So let's go ahead and enter in a physician this time. And I forgot to mention that, let's say for example if the provider has moved but you haven't updated the address with Medi-Cal yet, the address that pre-populates with the provider is actually the address that is registered with Medi-Cal. So if the provider has moved and you need to update the CCS county to let them know that the provider moved, you do have the ability to edit the address. It will not change the address over at Medi-Cal, but it will provide the address to the CMSNet system so that the SAR is issued to the correct provider's NPI and the correct service location. Okay? So if the provider is moved, you do have the ability to update the address, just like what I'm doing here. And there. Click on the find to populate the city and the state, and the phone number field. If the phone number is not available, please put the provider's phone number. Okay. And then, of course, your date of service, you can either free text it in or choose from the calendar. Diagnosis. Put in also the secondary as well if you want. And I'm going to go ahead and add services, and this time you can choose, like I mentioned earlier, you can either do service code or description, but do not do both, okay? So you can type in, I don't know any code, so let me just do like, there you go. Let's go ahead and just randomly choose something. I'm just showing you how to do it here, okay? Alright. And then once you're done, you can click on submit, and like I mentioned, we do have the address available here if you need to send an update. If the case is in active, reopen, pending, or pending, the updates that you send here will go into the client's case note record as a information for the county users to read and get notified that there are some changes in address. Or it may be the same, but you're just trying to send it as FYI. And submit, and once again it will generate a SAR reference number. You would use this reference number on the medical justification that you're sending into the county. Alright, so that is showing you how to request an eSAR for an established CCS client. So the next thing I would like to show you is how to modify. So let's go back to our client. So let's say you would like to put in a SAR modification request to an existing SAR. Let's go ahead and select this one. So to put in a modification request to a SAR, you can either do it to a pending SAR or to an authorized SAR. So if you click on the hyperlink, the system will take you into the eSAR fillable form, and once again the client's information is already pre-populated. You can't change anything on an existing SAR. The provider is already pre-populated. If the provider is moved, you can also update the address as well. And if the phone numbers change, you can update the phone number as well. And now for the modification, you are allowed to modify the provider information section, the SAR information, and the service code information. Okay? So I've already updated the provider's record for this SAR modification because I'm putting in the scenario that the provider's moved, just to show you how to update it. And I am also going to extend the service end date out. Okay? So this is going to go on until September. And I would like to add more services, so I'm going to click on Add Services, and let's just go ahead and type in, boy, I only know the word lake today. Alright, dun dun dun. Okay, so and just for the heck of it, just to show you, you can also do service code grouping 01. This is how you would do it, okay, if you wanted to, and just use the X to remove codes if necessary. And always don't forget to put your information or who to contact in case the county users have questions. And don't forget your comments, additional comments. So we have everything here that we wanted. Address changed, end date changed, add some services, who to contact, additional comments, and we're going to go ahead and submit. Now notice that the system did not generate a temporary SAR reference number, and the reason why it did not generate a temporary SAR reference number is because, first of all, you knew that you were modifying an authorization, so you knew the SAR number already. So that is the SAR. So when you send over your medical justification, reference to the SAR number and mention that it's a SAR modification request, and an eSAR has already been sent over. Okay? Alrighty. So that is how to modify a SAR, and let's just go ahead and take a look at it again, so that you know how it looks like after you modify it. So that SAR that we had modified and we had extend out the end date is currently right here, and it is now in awaiting service review. And if you would like to take a look at it, you can click on the view icon, and the system shows you what's been modified, the old information, the new. That service end date used to be 8/31, and the new date is now 9/29, and that there was codes entered in. Okay, and if you want to view the simple version, you can always click on the awaiting services view. This is basically everything that was sent over to the CMS net and the SAR counties and how you want to view it, depending on which version you like to view better. Okay, and if you want to print the current SAR, the current one right here, the original information without the new changes, for whatever reason, if you need to print that out, this is where you would print it out. Click on Print Current SAR, and it would populate the current authorized SAR. Okay? Alrighty. So I showed you how to request an eSAR for a new client. an eSAR for an established client, and I've also showed you how to modify a SAR. Let's go ahead and do an example of a client that is in closed, denied, and not open. Okay? So let's see here if I can find a client with one of those statuses. And I did create a fake client, so let's see. Voila! Test county, and the status is closed. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and click on my client. So it looks like here, my client, the program ended on, for this client, 10/21/2015. So this is basically a re-referral. So if you are going to put in a request for not open, denied, or closed cases, click on Request New eSAR button. I suggest to always put the primary guardian address information and the client's address information, because the case has been closed, and if the client's no longer in Sacramento County, definitely you want to send it to the correct county. So put in the client's current address so that it gets sent to the correct county. If you don't put the new address, it's going to be sent to the county of residence at the time the case was closed, not open, or denied. Okay, so once again, if it's a case that is closed, not open, or denied, please put the client's address, or it may go to the the county at the time of closure, or denied, or not open. Okay, so let's go ahead. So this one's in Sacramento. It was closed in Sacramento. So let's do a scenario that the client got adopted and is now in San Francisco. Adopted by Molly. PP. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Got my 2. Let's see. Let's see if I get the zip code correctly for San Francisco. Yay! Alright, so let's put the phone number. Unfortunately, I do not know the San Francisco area code. And the client's address. And if it's the same address as the adoptive parent, or the primary address, the relationship to patient, if it's the same address as the guardian, you can choose to make it simple by checking the copy from primary address, and it will copy over the address, and vice versa. Okay, you can also do this, yay, and play around. Okay, so the phone number, alright, and then for the provider, you can go ahead and put in the service, and let's go ahead and do an example of like an inpatient SAR. Once again, if the provider has moved or the address needs to be updated, make sure to update the address. Okay. Let's keep the city as same this time. Alright, let's go ahead and do the date. So this case we're doing a closed scenario and the end date is in 2015. So if I put the eligibility date after the closure and I enter the client's address here, what the system is going to do is it's going to, when you send it over, it's going to run the client eligibility check and see where the date of service that you're submitting, if it falls into the eligibility period for the dates that the client was active during the CCS or J2P time period. Okay, so for example, if I put in a date of service within July 2015 to October, even if I put the client's address here, it would still go to Sacramento because at that time the client was in Sacramento. But if I put a date of service after the closure or denial or not open date, it's going to go to the zip code county that I put, which is San Francisco. Alrighty, so I put in August and the client's DX. And since this is an inpatient, there is no add services. For inpatient, you put the number of days. Okay, for all other provider types, the system auto-calculates the number of days, but for inpatient hospital, you have to put the number of days. So if it's a DRG, if it's 1 day, if it's not a DRG, then you put the number of days. Okay, yeah, 1 day for DRG and whatever number for non-DRG. Alright, so once you've entered all this information, then you can go ahead and click Submit. And the system, once again, will generate a SAR reference number, so you would put this reference number on the medical justification that you sent over to the county, okay? So let's go ahead and verify and make sure that the request went to the correct county. So the date of service was after the closure date, and I've put the client's address in San Francisco, so it should go to San Francisco County. So let's go ahead and verify. And voila, yay, the client was in Sacramento and this request went to San Francisco County. Okay, now if you sent it to the wrong county in error by putting the wrong city or something like that, you can always call the CMSNet help desk and we will be happy to switch the county for you. Okay, there is the ability to switch it. Okay, alrighty, so we did a new new eSAR for an established client, taught you how to modify a SAR request, taught you how to look up and see where the request goes if the client is has a case status of closed, not open, or denied. So let's go ahead and now do an example of a new client. So let's go ahead and so for a new client, it could be basically for a client that is not found in your domain, meaning the client is new to seeing your provider. So obviously there will be no authorization because the client doesn't have any authorizations to any of your provider. Therefore, you won't be able to see it. And then also, it could also be that the client is a newborn or a client that is known to Medi-Cal but not known to CMSNet yet. So let's go ahead and do an example of a client that is known to Medi-Cal, fake Medi-Cal, because I have my fake client, and basically enter a request for it, okay? So let's see, we have here, let's do this case number. Now we're going to do a search, and it gets no record found. So once you get no record found, you can go ahead and do, or you can go back to search just to make sure that you really did a good enough search for the client. So you can do test butterfly and still no record found. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on Request New eSAR. So for a new client, either a brand new client, newborn, or a new client to your domain, you have to identify whether it's CCS and JHP always. So let's do a CCS, and then always for a new client, the primary guardian information and client information is always required. So put in the primary guardian information. So I'm just gonna, so if the selection, the fields change based on the selection. So if it's mother, then there's more fields for you to complete. Okay, so for mother's date of birth is a required field, and the mother's name, last name, first name, middle name, and the Medi-Cal number, SIN number. These three fields are optional, but if you have it, please enter it in. The more information, the better, so that the county users will have the information. Okay. And so, like I said, it's the fields change based on your selection. So, but for this example, I'm just going to go ahead and choose adopted mom. So the SIN number, I would like to go ahead and mention that if it's for a brand new client and if you do not know the client's SIN, you would put in 00. And then if you know the client's case number or the CCS or JHP referral number, you would enter it either or here. Okay, so if you know, if you know the case number, for example, here, so once you tab out, the system will disable the referral number, because you can either do the case number or the referral number. And if you know the client's SSN, you can put the client's SSN in as well, and then the gender. And for my client, client is born in 2016. So what the system is going to do is, if you don't have the SIN number, you put in 00 and put in the case number. So once you're done, once you're submitting, the system is going to run through all its check and balance and see, okay, there's no SIN number, so then I'm going to check the case number. And if the case number and date of birth match, then it's going to send the request to the CCS client in CMSNet with this case number matching the date of birth. Same thing with the referral number. Okay, so make sure that the key data for if the client is new to your domain but is an established CCS or Medi-Cal client, that you get the information correct. The name, the date of birth, the SIN number or the case number or the referral number or the SSN, so that it links to the correct client in CMSNet. If you're missing or you have the information incorrect, like if you didn't have a case number, a SIN number, or a referral number, or an SSN, it's going to do a name check. And if the name is very common, it's a possibility that it can link to the wrong client. Or if the name is not common, it could, but you didn't put in the correct SIN, case number, or referral, then basically it can generate a new client. Okay. And if it's already a CCS client, or a client in CMSNet, you don't want it to be created as a brand new client. You want it to link to the existing client in the system. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and update. Oops, let's cheat here and do copy from. And guardian, legal guardian name, you already mentioned it here, so you don't, this is an optional field. If you want to put an additional information here, maybe the client has 2 guardians, you can put one more here as well. And the client's medical record, make sure to put that on there. And the primary care physician. and the primary care physician's phone number. Alright, and then the commercial insurance information. If the client has insurance other than Medi-Cal, go ahead and put that in here, and the insurance name, and then the policy number. Alright, and then let's go ahead and choose this provider. And 1, 2, 3, moved. So I'm changing all this just to get you used to seeing the changes. Whoops, see if I enter in the correct zip code. Alrighty, so let's go ahead, and I am going to just purposely show you, let's just go ahead and enter the wrong number. Just to purposely show you that the system will actually, if you put a case number, it will do an exact case number to the CMSNet system with a date of birth, okay? So let's go ahead, and just so that I don't really get a real client, I'm just going to really not match any of these. So let's go ahead and submit. Oh, we forgot service code. Let's do service code first. Alright, let's just do service code 01. Alright, so let's go ahead and submit. So if the match is not found to CMSNet, you will get the message that says patient not found, submitted case number not found. And obviously I knew it's not going to be found because I put in a fake one. Now if you also did the wrong SIN number, it will also do a SIN number match. And this is a fake SIN number here that I have on a client, but it is a fake SIN number associated with the client's record in CMSNet. So what it's going to do is, if I put in the correct SIN number but I put in the wrong date of birth, and when I try to submit it still, the system will still validate that it doesn't match. So here it says error invalid SIN format. I probably put in the wrong SIN. Let's see. 303-741-8-4. Maybe capital A? Okay. Alright, so here it says submitted ID, date of birth does not match the record. So basically the SIN is correct, but the date of birth doesn't match. So just to let you know that basically if you enter the client's SIN number or case number, it will do it based on one of those fields with the date of birth. So make sure you put in the correct information, because if it is established client, you want to match it. Okay? Alright, so now let's truly submit it. Alright, well, let's see, what's my date of birth here? Oh, alright, 1/1/2017. There you go, yay! Our number field. Alright, and I went to Yolo County. Alright, so this is basically an example of the one that I just did. Is basically the client is known to CMSNet, but new to your domain, or it can also be a brand new client. So basically how to complete the eSAR Fillable form for a new client, either to your domain or a newborn client, is basically the same. However, for an established CCS client, because you would know the client, you would have the client SIN number or the case number, that's when you want to make sure that you really do enter those data in correctly and the date of birth so that it goes to the correct client. Okay? So that's it for this webinar. So I apologize I didn't break it into a little small webinar. Did everything all in one session, so hopefully it's not too long. And if you have any questions, go ahead and contact the CMSNet Help Desk. We will be happy to help you if you have any questions.